everyone, it's Heidi Fang here with Sam Gordon, our Raiders writer, and we are going to start breaking down the tight ends for you here today in our Raiders offseason review. And as always, Sam, I've got to welcome you to the show and say, how are you doing today?
Good, Heidi. Happy to be back. How you doing?
Awesome, man. I'm happy to be doing this again. Today, as I said, tight ends. We're going to start right there. Let's start with somebody who's not an obvious one. Someone who's a free agent, Derek Carrier. What do you make of what they might do with him? Because he's kind of been a fun little part for them on offense that they've mixed in here and there, but he is a free agent. So is he somebody that you think that the Raiders might try to bring back this year?
It kind of all depends on what the money situation is looking like, Heidi. I mean, we know he was valuable in special teams, and he had a role as a blocker in certain situations and certain packages, but he was at his best at special teams, and depending on what it looks like, if you can bring him back on sort of a minimum kind of deal, I think he's a good veteran and somebody good to have. With that said, I don't expect the Raiders to overextend or to really go out of their way to retain him. I think we're just kind of have to see how the market shapes out, because this is a position, Heidi, that the Raiders are extremely, extremely strong in.
And something that I thought made them strong was their coach, tight ends coach Frank Smith. They all had a great rapport with him. And now with the Chargers, now Austin King, who is a former quality control coach with the Raiders, stepping into that position. Does that change things for the people here, or is he just basically rerunning what Frank Smith already developed with this team?
Yeah, I mean, credit to Frank Smith for the way he was able to kind of develop Darren Waller and help him become one of the best tight ends in the league. And we'll talk about him a little bit more in a second. But sure. Given that they're so strong in that group, I think it's really a good situation for Austin King to step into, being that he had some familiarity as a quality control coach. Now he slides right in and can pick up, to your point, where Smith left off.
Let's get into that Darren Waller guy you just mentioned, because his contract, we discussed it a little bit before, may need some restructuring. How would you restructure Darren Waller's contract if you do at all?
Well, right now, Heidi, with where things stand, he's currently one of the best values in the league. He's only due to make $6 million this upcoming season, and just kind of where the market is. I mean, he was one of the most productive, not just tight ends, but players, pass catchers in the league last year. 107 receptions at the team record for the single season, 1,196 yards and 9 touchdowns. I thought he really emerged, Heidi, in the second half of the year when the Raiders really kind of figured out and tapped into the fact that he's kind of uncoverable. Just with his size and speed, you can line him up wherever and you can't really stop him. So just based on where the market is right now for tight ends, and seeing that Travis Kelce, who is 3 years older than Darren Waller, was just rewarded with a contract extension last year, the average value of somewhere around between 14 and 15 million, given that Darren Waller is only making 6 million. I would assume that his camp is going to want to get something done there soon and get him taken care of, like the top end player that he is. And of course, the Raiders, it's a no brainer. You can't afford to let your most productive skill position player walk away. So I think that's an interesting storyline to monitor throughout the offseason. Like you said, there's a lot of cap challenges that the Raiders have to begin with, and we'll see if Waller's camp pushes for a raise soon. But he's definitely earned one, and he's definitely due for one based on how well he's played.
He's obviously been a key part of this offense. So I wanted to ask if you think that in the coming season, if the Raiders might try to use him differently, do they scale back his role if they feel like they have stronger output from some of the wide receivers?
Not necessarily. I mean, of course, it's on the Raiders to continue to develop the receivers and have great players to complement Darren Waller. But if I'm the Raiders, I want the ball in his hands as much as possible, and I want him in a role where he can create space for other guys to do their thing as well. And I really thought, again, over that last month of the season, last 5 or 6 weeks, you saw him line up all over the field and wasn't necessarily pegged at that traditional tight end spot, really maximizing just kind of how unique of a player he is at that size and speed, and with his hands and his ability to run routes and do things like that. So I think he's entering his prime. I think that the best is yet to come with Darren Waller, and he's somebody that the Raiders are extremely fortunate to have, really kind of the key skill position player that makes this whole offense go.
I can't agree with you more. Very key piece of this offense. Somebody who's still trying to find their way and place in this offense is Foster Monroe. How do they utilize Foster Monroe this coming season?
Yeah, I think for him, it was big. He had the knee injury that he late in 2019. So 2020 coming back, no OTAs, no mini camp, just a lot of rehab for him. And then coming into the season, you also have Jason Witten here. For Monroe, having that year where he's finally healthy, he has a full season under his belt, played a full 16 games, The coaching staff knows what he's capable of. They know that he's healthy now. And given that he is another kind of matchup problem at 6'4", 250 pounds, like you said, in that red zone, it makes a lot of sense for his role to expand, Heidi, going into this upcoming season, just with his size, his strength, his ability as a blocker, capable blocker, and then his ability to run routes and be a matchup problem. He, to me, feels like somebody that whose stock is going up in the NFL. And still only 23 years old, going on 24. A lot of potential to have a dynamic tight end combo with him and Waller on the other side.
Now, do they look for another Jason Witten, because Jason Witten retired? So do they try to look for another guy that can match what Witten was able to do, or is Foster Moreau that guy?
I don't think it's necessarily a pressing need, given that you're already strong at that position. But of course, I expect the Raiders to do their due diligence, and if they can find somebody that's a capable blocker and that can contribute in special teams, maybe it's bringing Derek Carrier back, like you said, Heidi. So it's not a pressing need, but you can never have too many good players, regardless of the position. So if there's somebody out there that makes sense for the Raiders, given their cap structure and their cap situation, once they address this defense, it wouldn't shock me to bring in another kind of blocking veteran role player type of tight end.
Great stuff, Sam. As always, breaking it down for everybody here. So we're going to continue this breakdown. We've got wide receivers still to talk about, and we will do that because that's going to be fun. There's so
Saving
many
the
people.
most exciting position for last, right?
Yeah, exactly. And we'll get to that next week in our Raiders offseason review. But for today, thank you everybody so much for watching. For Sam Gordon, give him a follow at @BySamGordon on Twitter. I'm at Heidi Fang. Make sure to check out all Sam's work in print and on lvrj.com and vegasnation.com. Download that Vegas Nation app as well. For Sam Gordon, I'm Heidi Fang. Thank you so much for watching.